let's get started. General computing issues to design. Today's material is we're going to learn very brief and high-level overview about general computing issues, not just design or computing theories or some computing lab exercises focused on today. So today's lecture going to be general issues on computing technologies for being a digital friendly design majors, someone like you, okay? So we're going to review digital design media and computing, their relationships, and we're going to deal with some UI, user interface, computing interface issues, including some UX, user experiences issues with the amount of demos and some useful videos. And then move on to series of lab exercises here. But actually they are not lab exercises, they are certain kind of demonstrations. Demonstration for what? General computing issues. Probably you may not know computer hardware. Probably never look inside of your computers. But today we're going to review how computer works in a brief way and take a look at inside of your computers too. And then move on to some operating system and specific software, including very specialized software named 3D Studio Max. And then we're going to review how your computer operating system and your CPU hardware are working together with that kind of heavy loaded software such as 3D Studio Max rendering, mentally rendering. So today's lab exercise is not gonna deal with very detailed part of this one, something like last week's V-Ray rendering in SketchUp. We're gonna anyway render, and you're supposed to submit some 4 different image files and 1 shortcut file, but just for your demonstration. The result of your demonstration, not detailed training of 3D Max. Next year, you're going to learn 3D Studio Max in detail with some mentally visualization renderers. Today's demonstration is kind of preview, okay? So let's move on to the next slide, design computing. This is preview from the last week. As you know, our main goal is anyway design. And there is very important and very kind of critical part when we get started designing. That's human creativity area. But we are not going to deal with how to create something from scratch using computers. We're going to deal with anyhow, your ideas, invisible ideas to something visible form, such as computer graphics, 3D modeling, and so on. Overall, the process for that is design authoring. Author your design. That's major topic. And for authoring your design, we need to visualize the design and kind of iterative process just begun. Design development, based on your analysis, okay? So it's kind of very time-consuming, sometimes very tedious work, usually. Anyway, design development, design visualization. For analyzing your design, we need to use computing technologies, so-called computational processing. So the entire process of this so-called design computing, that's what we are dealing with in this classroom. I told you the means for design for us in this classroom gonna be so-called computing technologies. So today's focus is on computing, not design itself. Actually, we are dealing with not just simple design or just computing. We are dealing with design computing, but slightly more focus on computing today, okay? Computing for what? Simply for design visualization. That's today's major topic. So let's review this one again, digital design media and computing. I showed you this one last week, 3 different types of design modes using Wikipedia reference image. At first, we have the mode of thought. It's still invisible. What I mean is, even if you have very exceptional idea, whatever it is, no one can see it except you, because that's still in your brain, in your imagination. So design is a plan on abstraction which generates ideas and concepts. So major keywords are here: abstraction, idea, and concept. So-called design concept is still in your head. How to describe it? How to explain what it is? It's possible in the mode of expression. In this mode, design is a way of making visual equivalence. Visual equivalence between what? Your imagination, your ideas, your concept to your product, visualization product. Your sketch, hand drawing sketch, or 3D computational model, rendering image, whatever. Exploiting, using a medium's unique quality to maximize meaning. That's major description about the mode of expression. And then we're gonna finally manufacture that artifact. But I told you, the main keyword here is medium. That is design media. That is computing technologies. Simply say, your laptop computer, your personal computer, your desktop, okay? And also we're gonna deal with that part, your desktop, your laptops. Digital design media again. We have been designing very, very long time, several thousands of years, using pencil or something like pencils, designed by hand, but now we're gonna use computing. In your drafting course, now you are working with a bunch of paper drawing homeworks and so on, probably because you are freshmen. But anyway, in the future, probably near future, you're gonna use a bunch of computer software using your computer hardware for producing your design output files. Design by pencil to design by computing. That's our kind of revolution of design media. And so-called design media, thanks to the proliferation of information technology, now the medium, what I mentioned before, is computing, and that media is so-called digital design media. So in digital design or design presentation, what are important? Here I list up very conventional keywords when you present and visualize your design in a specific, especially 2D form. Layout, typography, sometimes some different keywords are listed up here. But anyway, some photography, some illustrations, some void, empty area, white color field area, or some specific, your own color-coded area, and so on. Using this kind of conventional approach for representing your design media and presentation by conventional 2D visualization, that is very important theoretical part. Anyway, we're gonna deal with this part because it is very important, probably next week and next after next week. But today, I would like to introduce you, there are some more things. Because we are dealing with computers, what kind of features we need to take care of? First one is UI, user interface. You may know the term multimedia, software, web, mobile environment, and mobile apps, something like that. They are something about user interaction between you and your computers. I told you your smartphone is also another type of computer. So using your smartphone is another interaction with computers. Another term, UX, user experience. A little bit more focus on experience thing when you are using computers. So this explains how a user interacts with and responds to an interface, service, or a product. So actually we are in kind of totally different environment from the past. That is so-called new environment, new digital environment. So our media, digital design media, you're going to use that kind of facilitated computing technologies for your design visualization and design presentation, okay? Before learning some kind of professional computer software, today's topic is general computing issue. So let's walk through something about computing interface. When you are using computer software, what happened? You know what happened, because we are using mouse and keyboards. Sometimes some tablets or some pens or something like that. But anyway, they are something input devices, interactive device for on top of graphical user interface, so-called GUI. You know what it is? Menu system of computer. If you click file, you may find out something like this. Blank document. That means a kind of new file. When you see this kind of diskette-like icon, simply they are referring to save your file and so on. Very straightforward. And sometimes amount of graphical icons. They are certain type of metaphor doing something. For example, you may know the capitalized B usually means bold, weighted font, and I in italic font simply makes your text in italic font. Underline too. They are all kind of intuitive interface using certain level of image-based metaphor. They are so-called icons. So grouped icons, tabbed icons, so-called ribbon interface designed by Microsoft. This is kind of close to recently developed computer software what you use, such as Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. Now you are opening on your screen. They are all GUI. GUI basically use some keyboard typing, mouse clicking, mouse drag and drop, and keystroke for inserting your characters, numbers, and so on. No need to say about this GUI because that's kind of daily life-based interaction we always made. But let's take a look at this very simplified history of computing interface. How to interact with the computer software. As of 2014, we can classify them in three ways. The first one is CLI. Second one, GUI. You know what is GUI. And the third one, NUI. Here's the a little bit more description. CLI, command line interface. GUI, graphical user interface. NUI means natural user interface. Nowadays, probably you may use this interface more than GUI because you are using some tablets, smartphones, using your touch screen, and sometimes you use some voice recognition tool, such as Siri on your iPhone. iPhone or your computer can recognize what you are saying. Whenever you do something, computer can be aware of your intention, what you're going to do, and respond it. That's so-called natural user interface. Actually, its development has just begun. We need to develop and invent amount of more things. Anyway, general software we use today are located in this area. Actually, most of them are GUI and NUI-based applications on your mobile device. But actually, what you're gonna learn from this course, or even in next phase courses such as CAD and graphics and digital design class in second, third years, all the software still in this domain, a part of CLI and mostly based on GUI. For example, today we're going to review this one as a preview in AutoCAD or 3D Max. What if you want to type exact dimension 1.2 meter or 1,200 millimeter? There is no way to insert that kind of thing by touch or typing. Actually, that's possible, but some error prone. So you have to type using your keyboard. That's why we still need to use CLI, command line based interface. But anyway, close to 100% your software gonna be GUI based, especially for making your design outputs. Okay, that's my point here. This is a quick preview of CLI. Let's take a look at demo for CLI. Actually, I'm not sure how many of you guys know MS-DOS or Linux or even Unix interface. But anyway, when you see certain kind of movie, hackers are working on this kind of black screen with white fonts. But anyway, it's still available. Let's take a look at this one. Click ESC and click Start button and type CMD. CMD means command. So you may find out this window, command line prompt, okay? Open it. And let's take a look at how command line based interface works. Okay, if you type enter, you may find out it's gonna be returned like that. What if you type dir, and then you're gonna find out entire directory in this folder gonna be listed up like this. You can see this using Windows Explorer, but right now I'm navigating it using this command line interface. What if you type CLS? CLS means clear screen. So screen cleared, that's it. What if you want to change the folder, upper level? Change directory, CD, and 2 dots. Change directory, CD, and 2 dots. And then now I'm locating just on the C drive root. So what if I type dir again? Some updated folders listed up on the C drive. This is command line prompt, still available in your Windows. Actually, this is not that useful nowadays, but I would like to tell you just one thing, IP configuration. When you need to know your computer IP address, type ipconfig in this command line prompt. IP config, C-O-N-F-I-G, okay? And enter, and take a look at what happened. Now you may find out how many network cables are available in your computer. This is my laptop, so this one has Wi-Fi connection and some local area network connection through the cable. So Wi-Fi has this IP address. It's kind of shareable IP address, and physical cable connected through this using this IP address. So when you want to know your computer IP address, you can simply open it, command line prompt, and type ipconfig. That's all. Okay. This is a preview of command line interface. Next one is GUI. Actually, we don't need to say about GUI anymore. But I would like to show you one simple, actually not that simple, but one example using 3D Studio Max. This is 3D Studio Max interface, and this is SketchUp interface. Actually, SketchUp interface is comparatively easy and very intuitive. In other words, that is very easy to use software. But take a look at this 3D Studio Max. Really, really looking complicated. Let me open 3D Studio Max just for your information using today's lab exercise material. Anyway, you're going to deal with this one, today's lab exercise. You don't need to open this one right now. Just for demonstration purpose, let me open it by using my computer. Okay, I just opened this one on interior scene example. There are 3 different views like this. And like other software, there are amount of menu bars and too many menus and sub-menus. Very, very looking complicated, and too many icons above, and even right side, there are too many tabs and so on. Too complicated. But if I enlarge this interface, and if I try to render it, I can visualize a certain kind of photorealistic rendering from that image. Last week, we used SketchUp and SketchUp-based rendering using V-Ray plugin, but this is kind of 3D Max integrated default renderer, so named Mental Ray. So today we're going to demonstrate it using your lab exercise material, but this is another preview in the course as an example of GUI. So the background image now generates this kind of photorealistic rendering, but I think it's going to take around 5 minutes or 10 minutes render time, because the output resolution is in HD, so it's not that low resolution images, so this one gonna takes time. But anyway, this is an example of graphical user interface. Anyway, no need to worry about it. You're gonna learn what it is and how to use them. But anyway, not now. Okay, let's move to the next one, NUI. So some of you may use tablets, iPad, Galaxy Tab, something like that, and your smartphones adapted this kind of NUI-based interface. But actually, there are a bunch of more future technologies in this regard. For example, there is a kind of translucent keyboard in the air, and some eye motion tracking, or some of your context awareness software, and some artificial intelligence-based approaches for making interaction between computers and you, something like that. Amount of more things we need to develop in the future. Let me show you one example. Let me show you a demo. Okay, let me open the game. Okay, this is 3D, real-time rendered, but using this kind of iPad, okay? iPad interface. Quick race, open it, and control the screen.
3, 2, 1, go!
So now you can see. Okay, something like this, okay? That one, game just for fun, but actually let me show you some Autodesk apps still available in your iPad, even in your iPhone or Android phone, anything else. This is what? This is AutoCAD 360 based software, so-called AutoCAD. Let me open one of the files. Probably it takes time to open this file, but anyway, AutoCAD drawing file can be opened, and take a look at this screen. I can zooming in and out and navigate it. What if you hold this one on site for constructing this real design? You can hold this one and take a look at on site and comparing using some your eye inspection to your original design, something like that, based on this kind of thing. And let me show you another example, AutodeskHomestyler.com. Okay, if you log on and create a new design based on empty rooms, you can choose any kind of empty room. Okay, this is your room. You can navigate it, but let me add some design furniture. Click catalog, and let me load this one, this bed. And now I can move it, rotate it, and lay out it. Okay, and add another one. Let me load some living room. Okay, living room chair, something like this. I can rotate it using 2 fingers and 1 fingers. Okay, something like this. Okay, this is a kind of intuitive but NUI-based interaction for making your room decoration, interior design, something like that. Okay, as an example of NUI. So here we saw some examples of different type of interfaces. Basically, they are all for your 3D design visualization, sometimes 2D visualization, but in the classroom, especially next year or next after next year, for your design studio, your graduation work, your design competition, you're going to have amount of opportunities for making your 3D design and 3D visualization. Close to 100% of your future software, near future software, going to be GUI based. Some CLI still required. I told you, for precision, you need to type command or type exact numbers for dimension, quick commands. And also, NUI is still available, especially for viewing the items. What if you want to see your model using your smartphone on site? And then NUI-based interface is going to be very useful for viewing your design. So making your 3D design models using GUI, in reality, 100%, probably. So are there only GUI and this kind of NUI for making your 3D? Actually, there are some more technologies. And just for your information, let me show you some examples. The first one is laser scanning. Actually, we don't have laser scan now here, but last year in the classroom, we brought laser scan device in this room and scan this interior room and the first floor lobby. So actually we have that demonstration laser scan file, point cloud. I'm going to show you later. But at this time, let me show you one video demonstration file for making point cloud file. When I was in Autodesk at the time, San Francisco Art Institute, we take this kind of point cloud based 3D. Hold laser scan device and scan them, scan environment. And then this building is actually that school, California Art Institute. I forgot the exact name. Anyway, located in San Francisco, the school building, we made this point cloud-based animation using laser scan data, navigating that building, the first level. So all these points are so-called point cloud generated by laser scan. This is building exterior. Now we can take a look at the backside of this building. So this is an example to make 3D geometry using laser scan device. How about this? This is, when I was in Autodesk San Francisco, there was a prototype application using amount of several hardware. DSLR cameras surrounding me, and I took this picture. When I took that picture, that DSLR camera images generate this kind of 3D image shape. But actually, nowadays, we don't need to use that kind of expensive hardware. Using your tablet or using your smartphone, what you need to do is just installing 123D Catch, Autodesk 123D Catch. And then you can generate this kind of 3D, image-based 3D geometry. Let me show you again. Demo. Okay, this is my iPhone. Okay, here is it, 123D Catch. If I open it, and let me open one example like this. Someone take this picture and load it on the net. That's why I can download it. This is a picture. He or she has this sculpture in his room and take pictures, probably 16, 20 pictures surrounding it, and then we can generate this kind of 3D. This is 3D objects. It's not just a simple 2D image, 2D picture. It's not a just simple 2D picture. It's 3D structure. Sometimes it has errors, but anyway, you can take this kind of pictures using your smartphone to generate this kind of 3D geometry, okay? But actually this one for this kind of material, what if we want to create something complicated, such as a building, but there is a challenging project still under the development undertaken by Google. Let me show you the demonstration video. But before showing you that video, let me show you this news link. Okay, this one. Using smartphone, we can take 3D environment by taking pictures. Something like this. Okay? No need to use laser scan or AutoCAD, 3D Max, SketchUp software at this level. What we need to do is taking pictures, holding smartphones, and moving around. Let's take a look at demonstration video. Okay, let's review this phone structure. Actually, just imagine this is your phone. You have camera. Actually, probably much better than this one, 4 million pixel camera. And you have very fast CPU inside of your smartphone. But you have gyroscope and some location sensor or Wi-Fi, GPS, and so on. But integrate depth sensing kind of sensor and motion tracking camera, they are certain new type of device installed in the camera. But anyway, still available for very precise calculation of your location. But anyway, this kind of sensors or additional devices gonna be installed in near future on your smartphone. And then based on that technology, we can track your location and taking pictures, calculate the distance, and then get the kind of vector shape of your environment, your inside of your building when you are walking around, okay? I would like to show you why 3D computer graphics software is usually very, very hard to learn. When you see the interface of 3D Studio Max, most of you gonna get stunned because of too many icons, too many options, menus. You don't know what to do. That's okay. Simply because actually making 3D objects using that kind of advanced camera, laser scanning, or some NUI-based easy interface, that is so-called ideal interfaces for making 3D objects, for 3D modeling, such as laser scanning, image processing from 2D pictures using smartphone or some advanced devices, something beyond your keyboard and mouse. Tens of media, tens of devices are very useful and intuitive, straightforward to make your 3D objects, 3D modeling. But I told you, in reality, we're gonna use part of command line interface on top of graphical user interface. Very complicated GUI. So actual 3D modeling tools use making 3D objects using your 2D screen. Anyway, now you are seeing your computer monitor. It's flat, just 2D screen, but your intention is making 3D environments, 3D objects. But anyway, they should be projected on your screen for make that 2D visualization. So handling 3D objects on 2D screen is kind of very limited. Too complicated 3D modeling on 2D views, too many icons, too many buttons. You don't know what to do when you see very complicated 3D GUI interface and visualizing 3D design software and so on. The gap between those two, ideal interface and actual interface now you are using, that gap makes you hard to get 3D computer graphics software. But anyway, we need to take a look at some details. That is why I tell you, we need to know some behind the technologies, background theories, and fundamental approaches, not stick to user interface issues. No need to memorize the sequence of clicking buttons, sequence of clicking your mouse. If so, what if newer version released? You have to memorize again and again. It's kind of never-ending process. You need to know what happened and how to make it using certain kind of fundamentals and understanding behind the technologies. That's my point in the class, in this introduction to design computing course, okay? So let me summarize it, what to do and what do you need to know for being a powerful designer using maximum computing powers. Firstly, we need to understand fundamentals of computer science, computer engineering, some theories, not all, some part of it, something that we need to know. And we need to know computer hardware because usually we need very expensive hardware for saving your time when you render your animation, render your final design scene. Your hardware is very important. So you need to know something details about computing hardware, such as CPUs, memories, solid state drive, and so on. Today's lab exercise hour, we're gonna take a look at the inside of the computers. And we also need to know network, internet, some web-based applications, and so on, as well as computer operating system and some general purpose software. for your daily life, of course. And then we need to know very specialized software such as AutoCAD, 3D Max, SketchUp, and so on for your design studio, okay? And there are amount of much more things about design computing, including some advanced cutting-edge technologies such as Tango project that I introduced you today using demonstration video, and so on. We need to pay attention a lot on that kind of cutting-edge technologies for adapting, applying them in your design work, okay? Keep your eyes open to that kind of technologies. This is last page for today's lecture. I'm going to show you just one single recommended website. If you have time, please take a look at this website. Actually, you don't need to take additional lectures or classes for learning computer software. Instead, you need to know certain kind of behind the story, behind the technologies from scratch. This website is going to be very useful to understand, to figure out certain kind of fundamentals for, especially for freshmen like you, okay? Okay, after the break, we're going to move on to the lab exercises.